Before we start, if you would please turn off or silence your cell phones. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Artigler, President of the Residents Council. Welcome to the third quarterly report for 2025. To start off, please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. What we'd like to do today is introduce new residents, those who've moved in since the last quarterly report. Then I'll give an overview of the council, and we'll end with reports from each of our committees. Our Vice President, Mike Marks, will start us off. Mike?
Thank you, Tony. We have a few new residents. Some were able to make it, and some are not able. We requested that if they weren't able to make it, to make sure that they watched it on TV and to turn up the volume so they could hear on our cable system. I encourage everyone to clap each time we welcome a new neighbor into the village, whether they're here or not. Stephen Lobb. Janice Hamlin. Ernesto Santiago. Loretta Graham. Gail Palmer. Yay! Gloria Burridge. Welcome. Earl McMahon. Michael and Sharon Market. Michael and Janet Brinkman. Stephanie Trugley. Stan and Carson Kapp. Yay!
Welcome to John Knox Village. The Residents Council has 11 members elected by you during the September quarterly meeting last year. We have the Executive Committee plus 8 council members that each serve as chairs of a committee. Executive Committee members include me, Mike, our Vice President, and Patty Mitchell, our Secretary, who keeps us straight and has arranged all these slides. That's not an easy job. The mission of the Executive Committee is to prioritize council issues and, as necessary, act on behalf of the council. The primary purpose of the Residents Council is to serve as a communications channel between residents and management to promote quality of life at John Knox Village. We help management stay informed of residents' viewpoints by discussing ideas, suggestions, and concerns through monthly meetings with Mr. Trainer and his department heads. We provide recommendations on matters that affect community life, from dining service to facility upkeep to policies, programs, and activities. We help plan events organize social gatherings, and support volunteer efforts. I think it's helpful to also say what we do not do. We are not a homeowners association. We don't make rules, and we don't enforce rules, and we don't tell John Knox management how to do their jobs. We're here to make sure management is aware of your issues and concerns. That being said, let's see what the council has been up to for the past 3 months. We'll start with Deborah Sheffield, Chair of the Activities Committee.
I was going to say it was my privilege to stand here, but I'm really not standing. But it is my privilege to represent the Activities Committee. The members are on the slide behind me, and I encourage you to meet them and share your ideas and thoughts about our activities. We are a very vibrant community. Some activities are organized by the Activities Committee, other by Candace and resident services staff, and many by volunteers in the residence. I'd like to thank all of those of you who volunteer your time and talents to share with fellow residents. I'd like to talk about 5 items. 1, we have been collecting food for the Orange City Elementary School for the past 6 years. The school was built in 1878, and the population has outgrown the school building. The teachers have been conducting classes for the last several years in portables. This year, they're getting a brand new building. The brand new building will not have a food pantry. It might the following year, but this year it doesn't. We are still going to have our food drive next week. There was a list in the Village Weekly of food items that we're looking for, and it is also on the Cubico. I have found 2 entities that will take our food donations and deliver them to the students and families on a weekly basis. Backpack Buddies collects individual size items for students. They will take all of our donations, and they will deliver these individual size items to the school, to the school on Thursdays, and then it is delivered to students on Fridays. The school is also directing parents to the Orange City Methodist Church for family-sized groceries. They also have offered to take all of our donations and will make the food available to families on a needy basis, on a weekly basis. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. This is a win-win for our mission and for the students and parents of Orange City Elementary School. So please donate graciously, generously next week. My second item is the Cornhole Tournament. It is on October 10th and 17th. You can find more details about it on the Village Weekly. Kathy Summers is looking for volunteers to help keep score. Even if you're playing in the tournament, you may still help keep score. We look forward to seeing lots of spectators on the finals on October 17th and for a luncheon thereafter. Even if you're playing in the tournament, you will need to sign up for the luncheon if you plan on attending. My third item is the studio. The studio has lots of classes. Candace will be scheduling all of them through Cubico. They are listed under the Activities Cube. There is a calendar view. You can change it to studio view, and it will list all the studio classes in one place. You can sign up for them there. We encourage new ideas for classes. You may present them to Candace or the Activities Committee. The studio is an open room on our campus. It is open to everyone, whether you're taking a class or not. Even if there is a class in there, you may still work on your individual projects on the other side of the studio. It's large enough to accommodate anyone who wants to be in there. On November 3rd, the studio will hold its 2nd annual craft show, where you might be able to purchase some nice stocking stuffers or collections for your artwork at home. Fourth issue, there are many upcoming events, too many to list here. I encourage you to stay abreast of the Village Weekly and Cubico and use that as your guide. Phyllis Dale and the Sunshine Singers have been working very hard on their next performance. September 26th, let's go to the movies. And lastly, please consider volunteering on a committee next year. We are always looking for fresh faces and new ideas. Now I would like to introduce Gary Kohler, Chair of the Communications Committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah, and good afternoon, everybody. We have, on the Communication Committee, we have 7 standing committees and 1 ad hoc committee. And I wanted to just review what the 7 plus 1 will be doing, has done, will be doing. So let me just go down through by last name of the heads of the subcommittees. So Debbie Artigler is our John Knox TV head. And until recently, all the John Knox TV birthdays and anniversaries were managed by her group. Cubigo is now doing that directly. So the subcommittee is going to probably focus on some social media projects, right? Anyway, Louise Kakamis with Village Life. The autumn issue was almost done. In addition to all the regular columns, a new poetry page column of poems gathered from residents' submissions will appear. Also, articles on future events, residents' trips to Asia, and the new John Knox woodshop. Bob Dunham, in charge of photography. Well, in addition to taking new resident photos and photos of many of the John Knox events, Bob ran 4 photo contests this year. Some interesting statistics. There were 82 photos submitted in the 4th contest alone. That was the most they've ever had. There were 283 across all 4 contests. 42 different residents participated in the 4 contests with 14 different winners. Pat Elam is in charge of the Portal Subcommittee, also Cubigo Subcommittee is known as. The Portal Subcommittee routinely gets new residents going on Cubigo, and that means computers, smartphones, tablets, whatever. The committee works on portal policies like the document retention policy that was passed a few months ago, and provides recommendations for Cubigo enhancements. Roughly 98% of residents have Cubigo access, and over 60% are active users. Mary Beth Harvey with the Village Weekly provides assistance and advertisements to professional staff in the production of the Village Weekly. Activities include twice weekly proofreading and suggesting changes that improve the accuracy and readability of content. Pat Jacquin with Village Friends. Village Friends hosted an ice cream social in June. Plus they encourage their monthly neighborhood events. They attended the Royal Committee's, resident committee's new resident breakfast and welcomed nearly 20 new residents. Shel Schmucker in Library, the Library Committee and volunteers keep the entire collection current and well maintained, updating the online catalog for clarity and easier searching, and run Books on Wheels twice a month for Audubon and Bay Apartments. They assist residents with library access. They oversee John Knox sponsored book clubs. They celebrate authors with special displays and events and maintain a resident authored work shelf. 26 volunteers manage 131 hours per month in the library and 26 volunteers, 131 hours. Then there's also, lost my spot, sorry. 26 volunteers, 131 hours per month, assisting residents and supporting daily operations, while 6 committee members average 48 hours per month, handling acquisitions, cataloging, collection care, event planning, and coordination with the public library. The ad hoc committee will be headed by Carol Hartman, and they're going to do what's done every couple years or so. Look at the John Knox channels, see what's not being used much, and solicit new possible channels to replace them. So that'll be coming up, and working with staff to do the surveys and such. And then the final thing that the committee does is every month we look at all the comment cards that either come in through Cubigo or through the actual cards, and figure out what the residents are saying that pertain to communication, and try to do something about that. So they all do get looked at. Just wanted you to know that. So that's it for my report. I'd like to turn it over to Joe Rudolph.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start out my report with a disclaimer. This report contains both truths and untruths. Now that we got that out of the way, my friend Gary over here asked me to share this true healthcare story. Two patients with similar conditions walk into two different medical clinics with the same complaint. Both have trouble walking and appear to require a hip replacement. Now, the first patient is examined within the hour, is x-rayed the same day, and gets a time booked for surgery the following week. The second patient sees his family doctor after waiting a week for an appointment, then waits 18 weeks to see a specialist, then gets an x-ray, which isn't reviewed for another month, and finally has a surgery scheduled for a year from then. I ask you, why the different treatment for these two patients? Number one patient is a Labrador Retriever, and the second one is a senior citizen. Actually, that's fairly true. It's been an honor to represent the Employee Appreciation Fund Committee meeting for 2024 and 25. The hardworking and dedicated members are Council Rep Dick Jacquin, members Bob Wetton, Susie Rudolph, Marie Boyers, Steve Stevenson, Gene Marks, Gary Boyers, and Gilbert Hollyfield. Staff liaisons are Elvira Wolford, who is Director of HR, as well as Shannon Finley, Marketing Communications Specialist. Also, I want to thank Donna Rieger and Kathy Summers, and of course Deborah, who help us a lot in these events. We've got the putting tournament as well as the cornhole coming up, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And between my information and Deborah's information, you got to sign up for the cornhole. That's all there is to it. And a very special thanks to our resident council, Vice President Mike Marks. As busy as he is, he's still our event coordinator and does an amazing job. Thank you, Mike. This is a good time to mention that the ever-popular Cornhole Tournament is coming back and will be held on October 10th and the 17th. It is sponsored by the Employee Appreciation Fund Committee. Contestant sign-up is now available on Cubico. You need to sign up for both dates and the luncheon separately. What great fun we all have. The cornhole boards are already set up so everyone can start practicing. There will be another exhibition match immediately after the finals between Joe Trainer's team, who beat us last year, versus our new resident champions. That'll take place immediately before the luncheon. And then the award ceremony with lunch served on the patio will be after the match, and it'll be served only if the resident team wins. That's an untruth. We're going to all have lunch. I was walking our dog Bella the other day, as I do often. I passed a resident I didn't recognize. I stopped and said hello and introduced myself. She said, "So you're Joe Rudolph." I stepped back a little and admitted that I was. She went on, "I'm new here, and I don't know how much to contribute to the Employee Appreciation Fund. I get the question a lot. I think a lot of our committee members do. In fact, maybe even you still have that question. I'm not sure. So being relieved, I explained to her, it's a very personal decision. It may help you to tell you that we've had one collection this year that we received a check for $50, and we've also received a separate check for $25,000. True. So I tell her, yes, obviously there's no amount that's either too small or too large. And if any of you all get that question, please support that response, because people feel a little uncomfortable until they get to know what to do a little bit better. Now, what makes our life at John Knox Village great, I think, it's largely due to the 600 plus caring employees working around the clock, 365 days a year, caring for us as well as this beautiful community. We do have the ability to compliment and thank the ones that we see often. Servers, some of the maintenance people, those folks, we see them and we can compliment them. Many work behind the scenes, though, especially in healthcare, as well as laundry, kitchens, and offices. The Employee Appreciation Check is an annual special gift from the residents to all of our employees. Very important. Our current contribution amount is just south of $160,000. Our goal this year is $450,000 with just 2 months left. Now, I'm very confident that we will meet and exceed the goal, but why, let me ask, why does everyone wait till the last 6 weeks to contribute? It really scares the heck out of me, but they always come through. So that's why I feel so confident. So I need a little help from you all. Help us, please, by reminding everyone that it's time to contribute. And with the help of Candace and Shannon, we'll be getting the reminders out in the weekly, and of course on the boards that we have in several locations. Again, thank you all for your generosity. And I'll be available after this meeting if you have any questions about the Employee Appreciation Fund. Now I'd like to introduce the Facilities Committee Chair, John Bonder.
Following the master joke teller is always it's a difficult act to follow. But I don't have any jokes to tell because I'm not good at doing that. But I always remember, as I see Patty in the back, that we try to limit our speech to 5 minutes. And Patty, I'm going to do it. Okay. Okay. Our committee is made up of 5 people, including me. My wife, who's on the committee, she's not here this afternoon. She's in and out of the hospital over the last couple of weeks, but she's doing well, and she's just out of gas right now. But our other colleagues are Doug Anderson, Jim Goldschneider, and Dick Belot. And I think I know Dick's here. Yep. So we began the year back in January, not really knowing one another, and we had a shared commitment that we were going to try and get a job done, and we were going to work hard at really defining where the heck it was we were going. At the outset, we decided that our principal focus was going to be building a strong and constructive working relationship with the key managing directors. That's Mark Otto for facilities and Stan DaCosta for campus services. We can say with full confidence that the constructive working relationship has worked well. And we've found that Mark and Stan are committed to delivering the top-level services in every respect. And they put up with our input with a smile on their face and always willing to talk. And they're also always available, which is important when we try to have really good, solid communication. Their job is pretty difficult because they've got, how many people we live here? 800, so we've got 800 bosses. And everybody's got an opinion, which is rightful. And at the same time, they have to sort through all of that stuff, establish priorities, and they've done a really good job of doing that. Their problems are significant, not problems, but their opportunities, perhaps a better way of saying it. They've had to deal with all the elements of the floodwater remediation, and all the ongoing activities that involves all of that, the improving lighting throughout the community, streamlining the maintenance report system so that when you turn in a maintenance request, it gets handled quickly. And I think this is the right number, but Mark tells me that they've got about an 88% success rate on being able to handle a request within 4 days, which is pretty darn good. On a net basis, we really feel that we've made real progress, starting with establishing a solid rapport and sharing on an ongoing basis. And ongoing is we meet every week as a committee only because we want to, but we also have access to both Stan and Mark whenever it's required. The only unfortunate thing that we've been wrestling with is the Centrix problem, especially with their version of a phone system that at best is an enigma. So I don't have any answers right now. Importantly, on behalf of the Residents' Council, we took on the responsibility of coordinating the first ever Residents' Forum, which took place last March. Then we had a second forum, and now we're going to have a third forum, which will be taking place on the 23rd of October, and hope that you'll be there. As we all remember, last October was a hellacious period of time. Hurricane Milton visited our community and much of the state of Florida. It was an uninvited visit, needless to say. We all remember the flooding, the infrastructure damage, the power outages that tested our patience, our flexibility, and sometimes our sense of humor. Yet, as a community, we struck to be a resilient community, and I think we succeeded. Neighbors helping neighbors, sharing supplies, checking on one another. These moments remind us of why John Knox Village is more than just a place to live. It's truly a community. Our committee worked very closely with both Mark and Stan and their teams as they responded to the crisis on an ongoing basis. For many days, they worked 24/7. And I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank them and their team of people for the extraordinary service that they provided to all of us. They always need a pat on the back. It's a tough job. The Residents' Council exists, as Tony was saying, to be your forum for sharing concerns and ideas. It's a bridge between those of us who are residents and management. I think all of my colleagues that are on the council are committed to listen, to advocate, and to ensure that your feedback gets to the right places. Now, I know when we reflect on all that goes on in our community, change and the request for change can somewhat feel like a surprise visit from your in-laws. Sometimes it's unexpected, and it's occasionally disruptive. But change also brings opportunity. As residents, we're stakeholders in the future of John Knox Village. Our input helps shape policies, amenities, and the overall direction of our community. Let's embrace the idea and continue to push for positive improvements together. Stay on track. Learn from our experiences. Hi, Patty. and keep raising the bar for quality living. And in conclusion, Patty, I want to thank all of you for being part of this vibrant community. Let's continue to work together, support each other, and make our homes the best it can be. Remember, together, we can weather every storm, whether it's literal or figurative. Let's keep things fun, open, and forward-thinking. After all, laughter is good for the soul. Even my friends' jokes. And a smile can go a long way to making change feel a lot less daunting. Thanks. Next up is my friend Dick Jacquin for the Finance Committee.
Thank you, John. Thank you all for coming. It means a lot to the Residents' Council to have people come out to the quarterlies and to support what we're doing. I publicly want to thank the John Knox Village Finance team that works here and all that they do, and certainly the Residents' Council Finance Committee. We have a strong committee, qualified people, solid financial backgrounds and experience. For those who are new to the village, the Finance Committee does not do finance, we monitor finance. In our September meeting, we reviewed the Florida's Office of Insurance Regulations submission of the second quarter report. This report includes 3 major data points, as you've heard from me before, that are required from all Florida CCRCs. The first one is occupancy. The report says that we're over 88%, which represents a 12-month rolling average. This is different than what's reported by, for instance, Joe Trainer at his Joe Talks, because he's looking at a monthly average. So you'll hear from him that we're well over 90% occupied, which is wonderful. The second data point for interest, the minimum is 80% for the OIR. The second is days cash on hand. We currently have reported 880 days of cash on hand. The required is only 100. What this means is that John Knox could continue to operate for 180 days without needing additional income. That's fairly amazing. This is a healthy measure of John Knox Village's liquidity, financial health. In addition to this, the ratios that are normally tracked when corporate financials are also strong and consistent with the conservative financial approach that John Knox takes in the way it manages the funds that they use. The third is debt. The good news is we don't have any, still don't have any. And for those who are new, all of the Valencia project was done without incurring debt, which is pretty amazing. As a reminder, the financial information, whether it's the reports to the OIR, the 990, which is our federal report as a nonprofit, or our annual audit, are all available in the library. There's a folder that's right near the checkout desk, and you can go in there and just be absorbed in the financials, or perhaps you want to make copies and take them home for bedtime reading. It's completely up to you. It's my privilege to introduce a delicious topic, food, and our chairman, Linda Kehoe.
Greetings. I probably do have the most delicious committee. The committee members and I work with dining management, and our goal is to improve your dining experience. We represent your voices to dining management. The food committee members are Mickey Antelek, Sitar Sheth, Joan Cornett, Nancy Lasagna, Jerry Hazley, and Karen Yoris. The dining management representatives are Director of Campus Services, Stan DaCosta, our Executive Chef, Raven, and our General Manager of the Dining Room, Dim. When our committee looks at the dining statistics, it is clear that there is not a lot of home cooking going on in our community. However, there is a lot of cooking going on in the John Knox kitchens. On average, 16,000 monthly meals are prepared and served in the 5 restaurants. Interestingly, the statistics show that about 70% of the residents depend on John Knox for one meal each day. Dining Services provides another 4,000 meals a month, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to Oakview Suites assisted living residents for a total of 20,000 meals each month. How does Dining Services and our committee work to improve your dining experience? Well, we depend on feedback and suggestions from you. Let's look at how your dining experience can be improved. First, and most important, if something isn't right, ask to speak to a manager. Each restaurant should have a manager available. By addressing your concern with a manager, it allows the server or runner to continue assisting other diners. The manager can resolve your issue much more quickly and will ensure that other diners do not experience the same problem. I would also like to add, if you have a dietary restriction or preference, inquire whether a menu item can be modified in its preparation. Our culinary team will try to accommodate your special requests. Second, as you exit Crane's or the grill, record your experience in the iPad survey stance. This provides dining management with instant feedback about your experience. And third, use paper comment cards or preferably Cubigo to provide detailed feedback and suggestions. When using the suggestions cube on Cubigo, if your feedback concerns a specific dining venue, please record the name of the restaurant and the date first. Dining management does read and respond to each suggestion entry. You can see the management response by clicking on your suggestions. If you would like to learn more about using Cubigo, this Thursday at 10 a.m. in the auditorium, there will be a help session, the Cubigo Cafe. We welcome both positive and negative comments. We would like to stress that positive comments about the dining staff are much appreciated. Management shares these comments with the individual staff member. So what else happens to your suggestion entries? Well, each committee member focuses on a specific dining venue. By reading all the associated Cubigo suggestion entries, by dining at the venue, and by getting feedback from other residents. Each member prepares, should I keep going? Each member prepares a report to review with dining management. Ongoing issues and suggestions are discussed with Stan Dem and Chef Raven at our monthly food committee meeting. Our common goal is to improve your dining experience. Your dining venue representatives and some of their accomplishments are the Bay, Mickey Antalik. Hopefully you are enjoying the new menu with the upgraded wines. This week, the dining ambience will be improved. Resident-created artwork and photographs will be displayed on the walls. New matching table linens and centerpieces by Jean Marks will be on the tables. This Friday, please join the artists and the photographers for a reception at 3 p.m. in the Bay Restaurant. JJ's, Sitar Chef. Plate covers are being used in JJ's to deliver hot food. A soup warmer has been ordered. Lobster bisque and lobster Cobb salad are weekly additions. The Bistro, Joan Cornett. The weekly specials are now listed on a sign and include a panini and a sub sandwich. A new regular thin crust pizza will be available, which cooks much quicker. Crane's, Jerry Hazley. The ongoing problem with cold meals has been alleviated by the use of plate covers during delivery of the food. Some of your menu suggestions implemented are a vegetable plate, spiral zucchini on pasta day, and riced cauliflower as a side. The Grill, Karen Yaris. The Grill has new wall displays. Several of the walls are displaying beautiful photos by Bob Dunham. The far wall displays the previous winning entries from the photo contest, and there is now a clock. At your request, potato salad has been added as a side. Special events, Treetop Lounge and Scoop, Nancy Lasagna. Buffet items now have labels, and the Scoop is serving Starbucks-style coffee. I would like to conclude with this thought. If you enjoyed your meal and/or the service, a compliment to the staff goes a long way. Next, I would like to introduce Gary Perrin, Healthcare Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. Your Healthcare Committee year to date has had a pretty busy but mostly successful year. The monthly reports, which appear in the Village Weekly, chronicle our agendas and discussions. Today, I'm going to focus on other subjects. The first is interesting. It's an old issue, but we understand that the issue of AEDs is no longer relevant for CCRCs in Florida. But I must mention an interesting article that was recently sent to me by a resident. Amazon in Europe is planning to equip some of its delivery vehicles with AEDs to, quote, speed up aid to heart attack victims, end quote. Further quoting, 9 out of 10 people live if they receive a jolt, i.e. an electrical shock, within a minute of a cardiac event, and the chances of survival without CPR decrease by 10% every minute. Hopefully, in the future, AEDs will be required in CCRCs. In a somewhat related scenario, some residents have asked the Healthcare Committee if we could ask the administration if security cameras could be installed in the pool and gym areas, as some residents swim or exercise when there are no other people around. I refer you to a recent chat for further information on this topic where it was discussed. Many of you were able to attend the Coffee with Nicole Vega at the Barker Center recently. Her discussion explained in great deal all the various modalities that John Knox Village has in place for us as we transition from full independent living to needing more involved and in-depth medical assistance. The Healthcare Committee strongly urges everyone to review the material Nicole presented. Also, there's a Coffee with Mike Buxton, which the Healthcare Committee strongly recommends you read because he also dovetailed a lot of what Nicole had to say. Nicole also brought an issue to the Healthcare Committee involving residents at MO who have been moved out by their family members. Remember, we pay a lot of money to have MO available for us if we need. Therefore, make sure your family members are aware of all the financial implications of moving to another facility. As you know, Amanda Logan is now back as Grief Support Coordinator. Thanks to input from several residents, your Healthcare Committee was able to play a small part in facilitating that outcome. We are still anticipating and hoping that the administration will be able to arrange a program on basic CPR and the Heimlich maneuver at the Barker Center this fall. We'll keep our fingers crossed. The Healthcare Committee has received questions regarding financial and insurance issues. Unfortunately, that is not an area we are equipped to deal with. These issues frequently arise when one spouse dies and the other spouse is not involved in such matters. Please make sure that both spouses or other family members are aware of your situation and desires. The Healthcare Committee has been emphasizing throughout the year the importance of physical exercise for our physical and mental well-being. Hopefully, many of you were able to attend the recent program at the Barker Center where Sally and Miles Hardy explain all the multiple health benefits of Tai Chi. Of note is a new swimming program under the auspices of Debbie Arteclair. We have received excellent feedback from residents who have and who are currently participating in her classes. Now, some little bit more serious stuff. There's a recent article by Dr. Tan, who is a memory specialist at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in New York, and he said, and I'm quoting, "Physical exercise is the most effective intervention that can improve both brain and physical health," unquote. Obviously, such measures will not always prevent memory loss, but they will, in his words, quote, "tip the odds in our favor." He also stated that large studies have shown that using weights has been associated with lowering the risk of developing dementia. Also, maintaining a healthy blood pressure lowers the risk of cognitive impairment. And finally, Dr. Ned Crockett, who is a healthcare committee member, presented a discussion on sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? Sarcopenia is the gradual loss of muscle mass, strength, and function, and is a natural part of our aging process. Everyone loses muscle with age, typically 3 to 5% each decade after age 30. The loss starts to speed up around the age of 60. Inactive people lose the most. With loss of muscle mass, we become frail and we have a higher risk of falling down, breaking a bone, disability, and even death. So that's depressing, but the good news is we can slow down the progression of sarcopenia with simple lifestyle changes, especially increases in physical activity and an active lifestyle that includes mild to moderate strength training. These activities may also decrease the progression of osteoporosis or osteopenia. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Larry George, Chair of the Nominations Committee.
The Nominations Committee has basically one task, and that is to fill openings in the Residence Council. We had 5 openings for this year, and I'm pleased to announce that Joe Elam, Pat Elam, and Gary Boyer will be serving, and they're in the audience. Would you stand, please? And we filled openings before this with 2 other people that will be having their own terms, and they're sitting up here this morning or this afternoon, Deborah Sheffield and Linda Kehoe. The people on my committee I have very high regard for, and they are very helpful to us in making sure that we find people that are interested, qualified, and enthusiastic about living here at John Knox. And so for that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. We have 5 candidates and 5 vacancies for next year's council. According to Article 1 of our bylaws, if there are only as many nominated candidates as vacancies on next year's council, I'm required to declare a unanimous ballot. Therefore, these 5 candidates are hereby elected to serve on the Residence Council in 2026. I'd like to point out that, that we're in the process of revising our bylaws. Drafts of the proposed changes will be posted on the bulletin boards across from Resident Services desk and outside the old fitness center, as well as on Cubigo. If you'd like to comment, please send your suggestions to Mike Marks. Thank you for coming. The Board of Directors' quarterly report will follow in a few minutes. Please stay to find out what your monthly increase will be for next year. Thank you.